Hi, everybody. It is May 18th, 2023. I woke up this morning thinking about May 18th, 43 years ago, when I was lying in bed on a Sunday morning and my windows shook. There was a huge, loud boom, and the windows of my bedroom in Burnaby, on Edmund Street in Burnaby, just reverberated, just shook as if they were going to break. And I thought, what the hell is that? As it turns out, it was Mount St. Helens blowing away. I mean, it wasn't your typical volcano, which blows up. It blew, the whole mountain just blew away and lost 1,300 feet of granite. So I heard it took that sound 15 minutes to travel 525 kilometers from Washington State to Burnaby. And I don't think any, I'm probably one of the few people alive in the world, in the history of the world, that has heard a sound that has emanated from so far a distance. So it's just interesting how history works. So it's been 249 days since L'Arche confined my brother, Paul Kierans. He's 2 years younger than me. Here's my little brother, Paul. They have confined him to a group home in Burnaby. There's no air conditioning in the group home, or they might have put it in now, but there wasn't when I was there. It's just a weak little fan. And the summers are getting very hot now, and I worry about him. I miss him so terribly. I was in court. I was at the courthouse at 800 Smythe Street in Vancouver the last 2 days preparing a motion. So I finally got before a judge at about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And I asked, what I was asking is to have a hearing heard early without the normal amount of notice, so that I can have access to Paul's medical records and speak with his physicians. And his physician, Dr. Michael Healy, and his neurologist, Dr. Miles Horton, won't speak to me. Well, none of his physicians will speak to me. And even though I'm Paul's only relative in British Columbia that still can visit him, from a family of 6 kids and 9 moms. So I miss him terribly, but I got a little glimmer of hope. The judge that I was before yesterday seemed sympathetic. What I wanted to talk about today is the public guardian and trustee of British Columbia. So the public guardian trustee is a bureaucrat, an administrative position, where it's the part of the government that's supposed to look out for people who are have dementia or are children. They're too low functioning to really understand what's going on. And L'Arche had finally disclosed to me a document that they said granted representation rights, or basically made a power of attorney to my 80-year-old sister, who's a nun in Northern Ontario. So they showed me this document, and I said, well, he could never have granted those rights. He's not capable of granting those rights, and that's not his signature. That's a forgery. He can't. I taught him to sign the only word he can make an approximation of, and that's his first name, Paul, and it wasn't his signature on this document. And so I took that to court, and the judge said, well, I don't have the jurisdiction. You have to ask the public guardian and trustee to decide whether this agreement that L'Arche cooked up is valid or invalid. So that's pretty important. You can imagine if every single right that you have, some agency said you had granted it to some person that lives 4,000 kilometers away, an elderly nun who lives 4,000 kilometers away. So that's what L'Arche was saying, that Paul had decided that he wanted to give every right including the right to visit with his sister, his only remaining relative visitor, to an elderly nun 4,000 kilometers away. That's what they were saying. So the judge said, well, I can't make that decision. You have to ask the public guardian and trustee. So the public guardian trustee, I've involved from the beginning. I tried to act as if they were operating in good faith. They refused to assess this trumped up agreement. And they said, well, you know, there's going to be a committeeship hearing anyways, so we don't even need to decide whether L'Arche cooked up this agreement, granting where Paul seems to give away all his rights to an 80-year-old nun in Northern Ontario that he's only met on a few occasions in his life. And so the public guardian trustee refused to do what the judge said they had to do, which was assess this agreement. Is it valid or isn't it valid? Is it a forgery or isn't it a forgery? So actually, two judges said that the public guardian trustee had to do that before we could proceed, and the public guardian and trustee has refused to do that. Now, when I complained about that, the public guardian trustee hired a hired gun. So this isn't an in-house lawyer that works for them. It's a hired gun who works in at 808 Nelson Street, and you know, he's loaded for bear now. He's going to come after this, you know, me, a retired medically fragile person on old age security, and a 65-year-old man with Down syndrome. To hell with the fact that I haven't seen my brother. He's not had a visit from me for 249 days as of today. So I just had to let off a little bit of steam, but actually yesterday was a good day. I feel like you know, the problem is I have trouble expressing myself. I was in an accident in 2008, and I have difficulty expressing myself in a clear, concise way. And obviously that doesn't make for a good lawyer. So, you know, I have the information in my head, but I have difficulty expressing myself. So it really helps me to be able to talk with you guys and to share what's going on. Again, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, please help me. It's very simple. Just knock off a quick email, cut and paste the information in the description box for this video, and email it to the bureaucrats, each of whom, with one telephone call to L'Arche's lawyer, Tara Britnell, all they have to do is make one phone call to her and say, you know how you got Paul locked up away from his sister? Don't do that anymore. She had an agreement with him. You abide by that visitation agreement so that she can see him twice a week. So any one of the people that whose names I put in the description box with one phone call could free my brother. So please help me free Paul. The other thing that I need is I'm trying to raise funds for a psychologist. The other thing I've asked for the court is to appoint a psychologist to do an assessment of L'Arche's locking up Paul and whether it's in his best interest. And the retainer for a psychologist is $5,000. And my guess is that an actual report would be between $7,500 and $10,000. So right now I'm at zero of that. If some, you know, if you got some money, you've accomplished a lot in your life, or you have some money that you feel you want to donate to a good cause, this is a good cause. If you would pay the bill for the psychologist to assess Paul and to show it's not in his best interest for him to be locked away by L'Arche. So two things you can do. One is, first of all, send off that little email. You don't know. One thing I've learned in 67 years, and having lived through one of the biggest volcanoes in history, in millennia, millions of years, is that you don't know what's going to make a difference. What's going to be that little bit of effort that is going to turn the tide and make the government realize that it's not right to lock up somebody, even if they are profoundly mentally handicapped and suffer from Down syndrome. they don't have the right to do it, and his wishes matter. This is his little toy. He named this toy, and it's been so long, I can't even remember what his name is, but Foxy, that's his name. This is Foxy. So send off that email. Doesn't cost you a dime to do it. And if you have the funds to kick into our GoFundMe account, click on that GoFundMe and kick in a few dollars, or if you can pay for the psychologist, let me know. And that would really be a wonderful thing to do. You would really make a great difference in our lives. I think the public guardian and trustee is hoping that Paul will die or I will die before her name is Dana Kingsbury. Just remember that name. Dana Kingsbury hopes that Paul will die or I will die before she'll ever have to actually do her job and protect the vulnerable citizens of British Columbia. Thank you so much for watching. And Paul, baby, I miss you so much. I've got some new Lego toys for us to build with, and I've got some new ideas for art projects. I think about you all day, every day, and I just work from morning till night. Every spare minute I spend trying to free you and to liberate you. And we'll be together soon. I miss you so much, baby. Take care. I love you. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.